You know, I've already done a lot of things. I've changed my career path many times over, really. In case you don't know, I started out as a musician. Then I went to university to study psychology. And during my time in college, I discovered the financial markets and decided to change my career path again, right? And well, today here am I working as asset manager. So definitely, life takes many turns. But anyway, today I want to share with you what being a psychotherapist taught me about business, okay? Because as being a psychotherapist, most of the time is a really bad business, it indeed taught me a lot. And you see, usually psychotherapists don't like to think about their private practice as a business because it dehumanizes the patient a little. After all, you shouldn't be thinking about money when you're dealing with someone else's psychological treatment, right? But the truth is that you do. And whether you like it or not, almost everything is a business, including your therapy business. And in the end, all businesses have to be profitable. But it was at that time, when I was working as a psychotherapist, that I first started to think about business models, though I didn't understand about any of this business stuff, right? Because honestly, I've never managed to make any money as a psychotherapist. Well, maybe I'm just not a good psychotherapist after all, right? But really, it was really tough. And even during my internship years, I earned nothing. And I know I was far from being the only one in this situation, right? So, of course, this lack of resources forced me to look at the economic side of life. And I remember being close to graduating, and I just remember thinking, my God, this is a terrible business model for several reasons, and I will explain them in today's video. So the first reason why being a therapist is a bad business is because it is just so hard to scale, you know, and good businesses are very scalable. But think about it. Let's say each session lasts 1 hour, and let's say you work 8 hours per day, 5 days per week, okay? So this means that you can only have 40 patients. Now, few therapists I know have 40 patients, being busy the whole week. But my point is, you can only have so much patients, which puts a cap to your business size. On the other hand, let's use an online market research service as an example, okay? So let's say I start offering my services here on YouTube as a stock analyst. So my job is to find value, to find good investment ideas, and to tell people about them through a report or video. I think this is a much better business model because I can put the same 40 hours per week on this job, but I don't have any limit to the amount of people I can have as subscribers or as clients. The same work I will have with 30 clients, I will have with 90. So for me, this is a very good business model because it's extremely scalable. The second reason why working as a therapist is a bad business is because you probably won't be able to geographically diversify your revenue streams. You see, therapists usually end up setting up their clinics in a physical location. Yes, a lot of people do online sessions, but the truth is that most psychologists end up building their clientele in a specific city, in a specific neighborhood, and they take a lot of time building this local clientele. And I don't know about you, but I certainly prefer to see a therapist in person. For me, it makes all the difference, right? But those who manage to build an online therapy business are definitely the exception. The point is, if you plan to work with psychotherapy, you probably need to establish yourself somewhere in a very definitive way, and it will be very hard to move. Can you imagine spending years and years building a local client base only to have to start everything again from scratch in another city because you've moved? Complicated, right? And this immobility can be extremely harmful because what if the country or city you were in starts to go south? And I know what that's like because I live in Rio, and man, this city is really sinking. Seriously, over the past decade, things have changed completely. And thank God I work online and I am able to move because I don't want to stay here at all. Sure, Rio is a beautiful city, but it's also dangerous as hell. So it's a great advantage to be able to move and to go away, which I wouldn't be able to do if I still worked as a therapist. But if your country starts to go south, if the economy starts to get worse, and if inflation kicks in, I mean, you as a therapist, you are screwed because therapy is on the top of the list of things to be cut off the budget when things get tough. And of course, it's exactly when things get hard that people need psychological support the most, right? But the truth is that it's really hard to insist on therapy when money dries out because therapy tends to be something quite expensive and whose results are difficult to measure. Moreover, if inflation kicks in, it's really hard to pass it on to your client. And here, the personal bond that is created and that exists between you and your patient certainly doesn't help. And that's the third reason why I think this is a bad business, because most therapists don't have a lot of pricing power, if any. Now, the other reason I think this is a bad business is because, well, nowadays there's just too much competition in this space. And you want to avoid competition, especially in a market where there's not so much money. I don't know about where you guys live, but here in Brazil, there's just a lot of psychologists. So these were the reasons why I thought and still think that therapy is a bad business, at least here in Brazil. But actually, to be honest, nowadays everything is kind of turning into a bad business here. And these were also some insights about what a good business looks like. So in summary, you want something very scalable in a space with not so much competition and that can offer you geographic diversification of revenue streams. And that's why I started this channel, because in the long run, I plan to maybe offer a market research service. Anyway, that's it for today. See you next time.